welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another book review. And I'm really excited today about the book that I'm going to be reviewing. And mostly because I have been in a bit of a slump. I have started several books that I'm just like, nah, don't want to read that one. No, I feel like reading that one. But when I picked up this one, oh my God, it grabbed me from like the first page. And that book is The Maid's Diary by Loreth Anne White. The Maid's Diary. Listen, I think it may be safe to say that I am becoming a suspense thriller, books in that genre. Like I'm kind of like a solid fan, if the story is crafted right. I have found myself lately needing that motivation, that reason to keep going. And with most suspense and thriller books, there's always like a whodunit or, some type of plot twist or something going on that makes you unable to put the book down because you are just so curious to know what is going on. Whereas with most other books, depending on the pacing and, the writing style, they're books that are more to be kind of savored. And, I think it's easy to get into a slump when you're reading books like that sometimes, because there's not like the motivation to like hurry up and know what's going on. So, having said all that randomness, The Maid's Diary grabbed me from the onset. Like I said, this book I did a video a couple of weeks ago about different tropes, and this particular one, I'm kind of seeing this a lot more as well, but I didn't address it in my video. The suburban trope, or the suburbia trope, where you have these, this idyllic neighborhood or community, on the outside, and then the writer kind of takes you into the homes of all these dysfunctional people doing all of these things that no one would know by looking at the perfection or presumed perfection from the outside. And this one definitely, it's a suspense thriller book, but it has that, wealthy suburbia type backdrop in it. So basically what has happened here, as you can guess, there's a maid involved, and there's like a maid service, and there's this woman by the name of Kit. She's a young woman who works for this maid service, and she's assigned clients in these very affluent neighborhoods. The latest home that she's been assigned to clean is the home of someone from her past, someone that she was hoping she would never cross paths with again. And as you can guess, there are these series of diary entries that Kit is, she's writing in her diary, and that's the mechanism that the author is using to kind of tell us Kit's story and her backstory and what's going on. And then the alternate chapters, there's this investigation, because as soon as the book opens, there's a crime that has been committed, and the evidence is being disposed of, okay? And so at the onset, going in before you meet any of the characters, that there's this crime. And then it's kind of told, I guess, the reel is being rewound, and you're going backwards to try to figure out what happened. And like I said, we're reading Kit's diary, we're finding out what's going on, and new players are introduced. And the whole while you're just like coming up, well, I was coming up with all of these off the wall theories, because of course I think I'm, Sherlock Holmes or somebody. I'm always like, oh, well, no, she had to have done it, because then I'm like, have egg on my face, because I'm like, oh no, there's no way she could have did it. It must have been him. And then again, the author twists it up and changes it and throws a curveball. So yeah, I like books like that keep me guessing, because in my mind, I'm thinking I'm, an intelligent human being. Like, well, if it's not that, what could it possibly be? And the thing that I appreciate also, because like I said, in my mind, when I feel like I figured it out, when the author provides these twists and, change ups, it has to really make sense to me, because I feel like what I was thinking made the most sense, obviously. Then when you go back and you realize all these red herrings and you're like, oh, forgot about that. Yeah. Because, again, when you're reading these mystery books, you're so busy scrolling, and sometimes you might be missing, sentences or words because you want to know what would happen and get to the end. And she did a wonderful job at, pulling everything together, tying it all together. And even I feel like, with some of the stuff where maybe someone might read it and be like, that's just totally not plausible. Well, she gave a reason for it. Whether you want to accept it or not, this is the reason why this person was able to do the things that they did, because of their background and because of the things that they had been involved in and the people that they knew. So from that standpoint, it's like, it's plausible that, the character in the Maid's diary, it could have done those things, even if you feel like, oh, that's a bit far-fetched, for a real life. But I think that's the beauty of reading fiction books of any genre, is that escapism element. And I just wish more people who read fiction books would really connect with that and realize that it's a form of escapism. A lot of times I think we're trying to find too much realism and rationale in books and in stories, that are totally a figment of the author's imagination. Of course, there's a such thing as realism in fiction, which I've talked about this all the time. You want it to be, I guess, real enough where the audience or the readers connect and they, oh, I know somebody like that. Oh, I passed by that neighborhood. I live in that neighborhood. I knew a guy like that once. So that is going to kind of keep them, maybe grab them and kind of immerse them into the story. But as these things happen that maybe wouldn't really happen in real life, you have to just kind of go with those stories and take them for what they are, entertainment. And like I said, I just really, the kid she was off the rails, she really was. Can't say that I blame her for, the things that she did. And I know in a lot of books where there's, spoiler, a little revenge element, people think, oh, who's going to go that far for revenge? But some people might. And this is in real life, depending on how bad the grievance or the thing that happened to you and what that person did, if it affected you physically, mentally, emotionally. I mean, it captured all of, potentially financially, it captured all of that. Then some people, especially if they feel like they have nothing to lose. I mean, all you gotta do is turn on the news at night and you see real time, real life in cities and states all over the country, the dumb shit that people do for the dumbest reasons, So to think that a character in a book wouldn't be capable of, some of the things that they do, of course they would. Of course they would. Yeah, it was just so chock full of just different. I mean, even when you thought that the players were the players, you found out maybe the players weren't the players, maybe they were someone else, and you start to realize how they were all connected. There's just some mind-blowing moments, I feel like, in this particular story. And I'm looking at my notes right now. I had like 1, 2, 3, 4 theories about what was going on before it actually got to what was going on, and I was not right at all. My last theory was kind of close. I mean, I had a big part of it, but like I didn't see the other part of it coming at all. I would just say that if you read The Maid's Diary, just pay close attention to everything that's going on. And I always like how the detectives, when you have stories like this and there's detectives in the book, I feel like they're almost like the reader in a sense, because they don't know what's going on either. And as a reader, when you're reading the chapters where the detectives are talking, you're kind of figuring it out with them and coming up with clues and, you know, different things like that, which makes it, again, more interactive. So yeah, I really enjoyed The Maid's Diary. So let's see, let's run it down. That's the genre, suspense thriller, set in a suburban, you know, affluent neighborhood. The characters, the main character, like I said, is a young woman named Kit, but then you also have like a couple of people that are her friends that enter the story. Then there's a set of detectives, and we even get a little backstory into their lives as well. I think that if you are someone, obviously, who likes suspense and thriller books, but books that you don't really find out what happened until the very end of the book, you know, or like the last chapter or two, you know, it's not revealed early on in the book, that, you know, books that are going to keep you guessing, then I really think that you will enjoy The Maid's Diary. I will say my only thing is that, I mean, it's not really a complaint or so much, but, you know, it's nice. But I guess most thriller suspense books, now that I'm thinking about it, they kind of leave this almost open-ended thing. I feel like there was closure and we knew every single thing that happened. It wasn't a thing where something was left and we didn't know what happened with it. You know, we knew where everything was and where everything stood. There was still this little part where you're kind of like, well, you know, I know where this person is or what happened, but the detectives, like, are they going to figure that part out? And, you know, because again, it's like almost like you want everybody to kind of have their, you want everybody to kind of be held accountable or responsible for their actions. And that doesn't necessarily happen here in the end. You know, whether that's a good or bad thing, I won't tell you. But everything is wrapped up nicely, and you get answers to every question. There's some stuff you may have forgot about, and that comes up and you're like, oh, I forgot all about that, you know. So I feel like the author did a really good job at that, leaving no unanswered questions, tying everything together. There were no missing pieces. It ended on a very, very good note. So The Maid's Diary, this is actually my first 4-star read this year, 4 out of 5 stars. And you know, for me to give a book a 5-star, it has to be something that just leaves me totally speechless, and every single element was just like above and beyond. And this book was pretty close, but you know, like I said, for me, like the ending of it, I was kind of like, oh, okay, you know, but I'm pretty much like that with most books because, you know, I'm a writer and I'm like thinking of a different or alternate ending. So it's nothing against the story. The story was phenomenal, and I can totally see this like as a series or a movie or something on a streaming service, you know, where you're in bed at night watching it going, well, does he know? Well, why did she go? Well, but, you know, you're having all of these emotions and reactions to it. It was really, really good, really entertaining. And I'm just so excited because I have started reading another book. It's like a couple of short stories. And that book also has, you know, grabbed my interest. And it's not even a mystery or suspense book. But hopefully I'm kind of out of the slump I was in and I can start, you know, getting to some of the books on my TBR and filming more videos and sharing them with you guys. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, make sure you like this video. And if you have read The Maid's Diary, let me know in the comments what you thought, you know, about that ending or any aspect of the book. Make sure you also subscribe to my channel and hit that post notification bell. You don't want to miss out on all the great content I got coming. Thanks again, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.